I've not used this before, so I'm just trying it out.
Woo! Yo, Joe, full force, or should I say instead, round one, fight. Because today's G.I. Joe show, we're going to be talking about a Street Fighter G.I. Joe character by the name of E. Honda, a.k.a. Edmund Honda, from Street Fighter 2. I'm here with my player one, Nate, the Retro Tinker. How are you, friend?
I'm excellent. How are you?
Man, I couldn't possibly be any better. And you know what? We also have Ready Player 2 with our good buddy and first guest ever, TJC. How are you, mate?
Morning, all. How are we? All good, I hope.
Nate said to me directly after the last show, Teach, he said, if we're going to have a guest and we're going to talk Street Fighter, you know who we've got to get, right? We have to get TJC. And what we did before we even got off of StreamYard is we made a little video to send to you and say, hey, come and hang out. Come and hang out and be our player two for our Street Fighter related.
I saw the video. I thought, why is he videoing his own show?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little egotistical. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. All right. Well, before I get too egotistical, I'm gonna throw out the clubhouse roll call real quick. We have Wilhelm Toy and Hobby, Casey Wheeler, Handsome Man, Ratface 44 Reviews, David Samuel Blaine, The Retro Tinker. Hey, that's you. Cindy K, Sunny's Sundries, Jonathan Sorensen, Happy Accident, Joshua Allen, Adam from Go Figure. We also have Scuba Pete, Phil from Treasures for Sugar, Hans Chow, Ken Poe, Brandon Haley, Jason Clark, Titanium Princess, Grindhead Jim, Justin Bryant, and Space Commander. Plus our clubhouse members, Cindy K, Gaz, Beta Ray Bob, Spacey, Jason Stillwell, It's Chad, Ryan Sweeney, Keep on Collecting, and Crash. Thank you. If you want to be part of the roll call, would just be either a Patreon supporter and or a channel member, and you'll get your name called out in that fashion. But you also do get some behind-the-scenes videos and live streams now. Crash has a brilliant one that's already out, and we've got more on the way. And before I do forget, Nate, the Retro Tinkers, links are in the description, as well as TJC. Do go check them out, won't you? Both legendary people. And we thought if we're going to be talking about legendary G.I. Joe and Street Fighter, then these two are the guys to do it. We'll say hello to the chat real quick, and then I can catch my breath and hand it over to you guys. Johnny Sorensen was here 5 hours ago. How are you? Kimbo with a hey-ho, let's go. The Lil saying hi just to Kimberly. That's it. Phil's here with a ding, ding, ding. Phil. Round one. TJC playing double duty over here. Morning Legends with Gaz. How are you, buddy? I made this with morning, fellas. Actually, it's got an exclamation point. So it's not I made this. It's I made this, right?
He's very, very good at making this. But
right. Uh-oh. Not a fan of the Street Fighter Joe figures. I hope we change your mind. I've got a feeling that we might not. But it's always worth having a crack. And our good friend Kiwi is here. Yo, Joe, how's it going? It's going good. It's going good. Oh, Johnny's back. Good. It was back after a 5-hour nap.
5-hour nap.
Now, let me tell you, there has been a little bit of is he Australian or is he not Australian? And the Lilith is saying, I wonder if Honda is Australian. He might be from Tassie. We'll see. We're going to find out. How are you, Jamie? Thanks for joining in, buddy. Good to see you. Good to see you, Jamie. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to talk about Street Fighter E Honda. Now, this is a show called O Ring a Bell, the Real G.I. Joe Show, because we ask our buddy Nate if this G.I. Joe rings a bell. Because it's a little bit different and it's Street Fighter, we're going to, and I mean, is it Mega Drive? Is it Super Nintendo? You know, we could also go down that route. But before we do any of that, what do I need to do?
Go to play the sequence, the title thing. It's time for everyone's favorite educational program, Oh, Ring a Bell.
Yay! You know what? I mean to say this every time that I see it, but I know the silhouette is Warthog Sergeant Slaughter.
Yes.
Tell me I'm right. Tell me I'm right.
Yeah,
he's a big boy. Yeah, he is.
Right.
Jamie's watching from work, so thanks for tuning in at work, Jamie.
And speaking of Warthog Sergeant Slaughter, this guy, he must have become jealous that we've been talking about all these other Joes in the week since, because this is the second time this year.
Yeah.
Second time this year.
It's the humidity that does it.
Outrageous.
It just eats away at them. Smarter already. See, that's how educational it is. It's educational.
We're all here to learn. There you go.
Before we jump into it, Tej, why don't you tell us a little bit about your channel? Not that everybody here hasn't already known who you are for some time now, but tell us again. Tell us about your channel.
Well, my channel is just a place where if you want to catch any retro games, I'm obviously doing up-to-date games as well, but obviously mainly retro and bringing back memories of what you used to play when you were a kid with friends, arcades. Remember them things where you used to socialize, you know?
Yes,
Instead of them just being gambling machines, which most of them all are now. That's what they are now.
True.
I mean, at the past weekend, they had a booth there in there, obviously in one of the other rooms from the convention we were at, and they had these sit on the table retro sort of like arcade sort of machines, 2-player machines. And Jay, bearing in mind he's not really got with the retro stuff yet, he sat on one of them, he flicked through the game, and I can't remember, he was playing something and dinosaurs game. I'd never even seen it. I think it might have been an SNK game or something, and he was sitting there for ages on that. You know, are you all right there? Yeah, all right, yeah. I am here, you know. But he was just on that for a little while. And so that was really good. But the retro games do still stand up. I mean, a lot of people still play them.
Absolutely.
So the Retro Tinker, because you've got retro in the name, just for anyone that's tuning in for their first episode of O Ring a Bell, if this is your first episode, tell us a little bit about your channel too, Nate.
My channel is mainly about me fixing old toys and making stupid jokes.
My favorite jokes are stupid jokes. So according to Phil, it says Johnny. Now Johnny's translating for Phil because they're both Kiwi, you see. According to Phil, those Hondas had an invitation across the nation and were slap fighting in the street. There you go. If it comes from Phil, I believe it.
Totally.
That's a good question. Has anyone played the NES G.I. Joe games? I haven't.
No, I haven't.
Hold that thought.
Oh, okay. Hold it. Hold
that thought. Don't worry. There is something in the works. Don't worry. That is coming.
Excellent. We'll look forward to that. Has anyone played Street Fighter 2 perchance?
Yes.
Just a little bit.
Oh, sure.
What was your go-to character?
Ken.
I was like Blanca.
Blanca. I love Blanca. Ken. In my play, it was always Ken over Ryu. but I think it was because if there was a top character or a leader type character, I was sort of backed away from those. Like I was more of a Wolverine than a Cyclops person, and so I was more of a Ken over a Ryu person. Yeah, see, Ken gets all the love. Ken and Blanca. Yeah. I don't even think that there's a bad character from Street Fighter 2. No. Right? None of them are stinkers. They're all pretty decent. But we're talking about, and thanks to 3D Joe's, I stole some of your images, but he's all right with it. We're going to throw up the one we're going to talk about today, which is Edmund Honda. Is he Australian?
Definitely. I passed him on my way to work this morning.
Did you? Perfect. I didn't realize I was walking past you.
I see him every day. He has a little chihuahua and he just walks down the street in a towel. Just it's weird.
Okay. All right. You're getting some love there. Definitely Aussie. Yeah, it's a possibility. But we don't know yet, right? So if we had to hazard a guess, where would we say that Edmund Honda is from?
Japan.
That is a good guess. We'll work our way to that as we get to the file card. Edmund Honda, sumo wrestler with 100 hand slap action. No, that's not true. I'm almost certain that that's not true. Gaz, thanks, champion. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Gaz.
Myself bottom TJC because I don't want your beautiful face to be covered when I bring up these comments. But thank you to Gaz for throwing out these links for me. Mucho apreciado. If you hit that link, you can actually subscribe to TJC's channel right now. He wears a thong, so he must be Aussie, right? Spoiler alert. We're getting to that. So we've got here Street Fighter 2 in big, bold, Edmund Honda, tiny little writing, and it's splashed with G.I. Joe, which makes this an official G.I. Joe product, and therefore Street Fighter 2 is from the same line and universe as G.I. Joe.
Is that price on there Australian or American?
That's a good question. I think it can't be. I got it from 3D Joe's, the best source for you to look up any G.I. Joe. So I imagine it's probably American, but I'm not entirely sure because $20 back in those days is a ludicrous amount. So it can't be. It's got to be.
That's quite expensive, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. However, if you saw this, if you were a G.I. Joe collector and a fan of Street Fighter, here we go again with the legendary links. Thank you, Gaz. You know, if you hit that link right now, you can subscribe to Nate the Retro Tinker. Check it out. Give it a shot. Try this one too. Let us know if it doesn't work. But yeah, if you were there at the toy show or a toy store or any other place where you can pick up an action figure back in the day while you're collecting G.I. Joe and possibly playing Street Fighter 2 on the Sega Mega Drive or AKA the Genesis, right, Tej?
Yeah. Well, we had a Mega Drive for us.
Yeah,
Genesis
Mega Drive.
Genesis was the States, wasn't it?
All the cool kids had the Mega Drive. Who would have picked this guy up?
Me, for sure.
I definitely loved that game. We used to play a lot of the game.
So as we go through, I don't think I used E Honda that often in the game, but as we go through our G.I. Joe characters and we start to look at some more of the Street Fighter 2 characters, we'll start to see that some of them resemble the actual character from the game more than they do others. So some look remarkably well like the game, like I think E Honda looks remarkably well like the game. Some of them not so much. But it comes with a plethora of weaponry, but on his own, which is probably how most people would like him, he looks pretty formidable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That is a great-looking character. Probably the most unique sculpted G.I. Joe up until this point. As we go further down the line and we start looking at maybe, spoiler alert, some Mortal Kombat, you might see a little bit more originality coming in through the sculpts. But, yeah, bonus points for soft good. I agree. Bonus points for that. And also bonus points for a completely new sculpt. No reuse of parts, all entirely new. Needs a figure stand. Now, let's try and keep it above board here, guys, above the belt. No potty humor. But why do you think he's cocking one leg up?
There's only one reason for that, but I've been forbidden from saying.
No, go ahead. You do it.
Because he's letting one rip.
He's letting one rip. Well, he does have a soft tummy. Yeah, soft tummy and soft goods. He looks like he'd be ticklish too. He's very shiny. So the reason why he's cocking up one leg is because his action. I don't know why they said he's got that 1,000. What did it say he had? What was the
100 hand slap? 100 hand slap is his move.
Yeah, he doesn't have a 100 hand slap. He's got a leg that kicks up.
Okay.
Yeah. Sumo
So
shake. No, it's solid.
It's Flash.
What's that?
So he's the Flash with kicking action.
Exactly. The Flash with kicking action. That's a deep cut, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate the support on that too. So he does cut, and I have one right here. I have one for educational purposes on hand. Would you like to see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now the trick. I'm going to show off the thumb in a second too. So here he is, Edmund Honda. Now he has the gimmicks on all of these were built in, right? Most of them had a gimmick of some sort, and his is that he has a spring-loaded leg, right? Pew, pew. Nothing to do with a slap, pew. But he kicks pretty good. Now the problem is because it's spring-loaded or whatever mechanism. Oh, Nate, maybe you'll be able to help me fix it. You're a pretty fella. But the leg, more often than not, if you find one of these secondhand, the leg's permanently on a kick front. You can't keep it down. It's pew. But look at those monstrous feet. Still put the peg holes there. And the soft goods come off to reveal, this is an adults only version.
Ooh,
check it. Check it, cheeky. So, I mean, either way, that's pretty appropriate, and it's all fun and games. But that's pretty appropriate for a sumo wrestler to be wearing. I don't know. No disrespect to the sumo wrestlers out there. I know that they are considered, high standing. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So, according to this is not a skirt. According to 3D Joe's, this is a mawashi. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly either, but Mawashi, possibly pronounced mawashi. Let me know, Phil. Yeah, it is. Hide your eyes. It is bootylicious. Yeah. But anyway, that's got nothing to do with whatever it is that the card said. Like his hands, look at those biceps. I want to put those arms on the Sarge. But yeah, which leg is it? This one. Pow, pow. So in order to get him to stand, if you can't get his legs straight, then you just sort of you have to finagle it or maybe bend the knee a little. Oh, look. Nice. Thanks, Phil.
So I'm guessing that those figures aren't an O-ring thing. They would have to have a different. Yeah.
Yeah. So some of them were, but not the E Honda figure. All new sculpt. Oh, you headbutt the camera. You all right? You're all right, there, little fella. But he's got. Oh, come on! I'm holding the wrong. Sorry, mate. I've only gone and done it again. Huge biceps. Yeah. A belly that resembles mine, except with less hair. Epic face paint. Phil, what kind of face paint would you call that? Yeah, he doesn't have an O-ring. That's hilarious, Kimbo. That's hilarious.
That's nice, Kim.
Wouldn't mind seeing a sumo come crashing through Zazel's door in a red outfit. Maybe Hans can get inspired. I don't know if I'd want to see that. But no O-ring, but still, the same sort of articulation you would expect of a G.I. Joe, at least in the arms with the swivel, the elbows. You got less articulation with the legs. They just sort of go forwards and backwards. And then, with the one spring-loaded leg, it just stays that way. But I think that this guy is phenomenal. The way that they were able to, they could have, because we saw, who was last week's character? Does that ring a bell?
Cool, now you got me.
You always ask me that, and I always have a mental blank.
Road Pig. It was Road Pig.
Road Pig, there you go.
So they could have cheaped out and just given him like a Road Pig body and went, done, sumo, that'll do, right? But instead, they sculpted him. They gave him the tie up in the back, the appropriate attire for a wrestling sumo wrestler. They gave him the thingy, and I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. What do you guys reckon?
Cool. They definitely put the effort in.
Yeah, they did go the extra mile for their license, so to speak. So.
Yeah, it was Jacko. Sorry, you're right. You're right, Gaz. I like that Gaz remembers all these things I forget. He needs a washi. Well, his level. What do they call that? TJC, his level in the game.
What do you mean his level?
You know where you go to E-Honda's level in the game. Like everyone's got their own theme level.
His was like
that was the. Can't remember the name of the level now.
Well, it's a bathhouse, right?
Yeah, it's a bathhouse or a steam room.
Bathhouse, steam room sort of thing like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like a steam room bathhouse, which looks pretty cool. It is a bath. Thanks, Johnny. It's a bathhouse. So I think that there is actually. Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's got like the rising sun in the background of it and everything.
What was this for again, Phil? I was asking you, is that what the face paint's called? Onsen? My memory's bad, but I appreciate the work.
What does that translate to meaning, though?
That's a good question. But apparently in the game, there was some, that's the bath. Oh, okay, thanks, Phil. Well, appreciate it. That's the bath. It's onsen. Okay, thanks, buddy. Mucho apreciado. Next time we have a Japanese character, I reckon we'll invite Phil on for
Phil on. He's the man.
Wasn't there a hand slap and butt stomp? I know that there was the hand thing. It's like
there was. He would do a leap in the air and sort of do a drop on the air. He would do that as well. Yeah.
So apparently, though, that level in the game, there was some. What's the word when something's a little bit not good? You know, controversial. Thank you, Nate. Thanks, guys. Yeah, controversial. Keep on collecting here. How are you?
Keep on collecting.
Good to see you, buddy. A little bit controversial because of the symbol of the rising sun. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Philip. Is that controversial? Sorry, you're late. You're not late, mate. You're on time. You're always on time, or whatever the saying is. Language. Oh, you mean keep on collecting? Gotcha. Yeah. So let's take another look at the character. So far, pretty good.
Yeah.
I would argue that that's perfectly acceptable as is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like he didn't quite need the kicking action. But it's not a bad thing either. It's just...
I think the only issue that I have with it is that everyone that I've ever seen is broken and so therefore is always in kick position. Mine will not stay down. I need a retro tinker to tink with it. However, they did come with weaponry, as mentioned, never used as far as I'm aware in the games. At least not in the Street Fighter 2 game that I played. In later ones, I don't know if they ever used weapons or not.
It was in a baggie somewhere.
Well, now you know where they came from. Do these ring a bell?
Now they do. Now we know.
They will probably reuse from other Ninja G.I. Joes anyway, which I'm sure we'll figure out as we go through the series. They look pretty cool, but he came with more weapons, like a He-Man style battle axe.
That's a solid weapon. I like it.
Yeah, I think that's great. Is it a weapon or a hair tongue? That's a good question. I don't know. I like the veins in his arms too. Oh, so great. That is one badass looking figure.
I hadn't noticed it. It's really cool.
It looks like Tabi from Chuck Norris's Karate Commando line. Yeah. He does tuning forks. Yeah, they're more like tuning forks. Oh, what are
either that or he's just got 2 dinner forks.
Yeah. So what else?
All out with the salad.
So he did also come with a knife and a sword. I didn't grab images of the knife and the sword, but I would say he doesn't need a sword or a knife. But I do think that these are unique enough that they look pretty cool, and I like that the blue matches his soft goods. I forgot the name of the thing, but the axe also kind of brings it back to He-Man. Yeah, he's always hungry. Shall we have a look at the back of the card?
Yeah.
Let's see what they came with. So, as you can see, a full lineup of Street Fighter 2 characters, which is mind-blowing when you think about it, right? You had Ryu, Ken Masters, Guile, Chun-Li, Blanca, M. Bison, Edmund Honda, Dalzim, Zangief, Vega, Balrog, and Sagat. We had a quick look at Balrog, didn't we?
Yeah.
When we were talking about which Cobra character, Nate?
Big Boa.
That rings a bell.
It does.
His knees look weak, which makes sense, especially if he's been rapping against Eminem, right?
He's 100 palms are sweaty.
Perfect. So we've got all of the cross-sell there. It's got all the characters, which is mind-blowing considering how many characters are there all together in one spot. Most waves these days, you might get 3 or 4 figures, and that's it. You got to wait years upon years upon years.
Yeah.
But we had. Go on.
I was just saying they definitely had confidence that these things were going to sell. That's for sure.
Now I'm going to say something, and I mean this with all due respect. But TJC, if we ever do a video on Sagat, can you come back and wear an eye patch for us?
As is for you. Oh, wait.
Perfect. Looking back at these characters, there's not a stinker in the bunch as far as the computer game is concerned.
Well, I'm looking at that card, and I'm surprised they laid him out like that, because if they'd have put Vega, Balrog, Sagat, and Bison at the end, because the original Street Fighter 2, you couldn't play as them.
Right.
They were the 4 bosses, you see, so that they could put them at the end. So obviously then you unlocked them as you then beat the game. But obviously the original characters, you only had the original ones to start with. I mean, on later editions, and I had so many sort of versions, that was unbelievable in the end, but you lost track. But the original ones, that was just the 4, and you couldn't play as them until you defeat the game.
They should have they should have made you they should have made the bosses mailaways, and you had to prove, send it away and prove that you had each previous boss.
Yes. Oh, that would have been a great idea.
Like a G.I. Joe point system where you had to have the rest of the line to actually unlock each boss.
Yes. Yeah. That's a brilliant idea. Oh, that's true. That is true. Now, there, as Phil pointed out, there were vehicles and a play set. So imagine getting a full slew of characters for Street Fighter 2, plus vehicles, which were sometimes arguably better repaints than they were original vehicles, plus a play set. I mean, this is dynamite. This is dynamite stuff. Do you guys know the whole name mix-up with Balrog, Vega, and M. Bison?
No, I don't.
So in tournaments, when people are playing in tournaments, they're known as the boxer. I knew I was going to bloody forget this. The boxer is obviously Balrog. I think his name is. I think they go by Claw for Vega, and M. Bison might be something like Tyrant or something like that, or Leader or something, right? They don't use their names because when they brought them over to America, they switched the names because M. Bison was originally the boxer, like Mike Tyson. Right,
okay.
And
that makes sense.
Right, and M. Bison was Vega, and Vega was Balrog, but they mixed all the names around. So, I think I got that right. Balrog, yeah. Wait, hang on. Vega was, which one was Vega? Vega, I think, was M. Bison.
And the mask.
Yeah, well, Vega is in the mask here now, but I think M. Bison was known as Vega in Japan. So in Japan, Vega is M. Bison. Balrog is wait. Let me get my story straight.
Somebody gaggle this.
Yeah, somebody gaggle it. So M. Bison here, right, in Japan, he would be known as Vega, right? Balrog here in Japan would be known as M. Bison, and so forth and so on. You get it. Whatever. We get it. They twirled them around.
To reply to Gaz there, let's just say he was. Even if he wasn't, he was.
Exactly. Perfect.
So it might be. And his comment about Ken Masters being Doug Masters' younger brother, let's just say yes.
Yes. Done. Never say die. Iron Eagle. Was he Doug Masters' younger brother? Yes. I agree. This is gold. I've lost the plot. We'll have to have a look at the vehicles on another stream, but all of these are top-notch characters, some great vehicles. Let's take a closer look at the file card, and I'll get you to read it out as always, Nate. As always, I say, as he only did it for the first time last week. Yeah.
which should actually give you an idea that this is going to be a regular thing, Nate. You're doing the reading.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I was not guessing his name was going to be Edmund. Edmund Honda.
Very Japanese name.
Japanese.
Yes.
Yeah. So
he's not Australian.
Yeah, I kind of thought that he was also going to be from Wisconsin for a second.
Good.
It's only natural that a sumo should become the world's strongest. Edmund Honda has been trained since birth to take his place as the greatest sumo wrestler to ever step into the ring. Upon receiving the title of Yokozuna, or Grand Champion, Honda was shocked to learn that the rest of the world did not consider sumo wrestling a true sport. Outraged, he has vowed to prove that sumo wrestlers are the greatest fighters in the world. A strict disciplinarian, Honda guides his pupils with a stern hand. He understands that goals are reached only through hard work and dedication. Quick and extremely powerful, Honda's greatest advantage is his size. He loves to pound his opponents into corners and then knock them out with a quick flurry of his 100-hand slap.
Okay. TJC, as our guest, would like to read out what his awesome attack moves are?
Right, his awesome attack moves are a bear hug, shoulder throw, triple hit combo.
Sure.
Sumo headbutt, as demonstrated by Zazer with the camera earlier.
Yes, true, correct.
100-hand slap,
yes.
Sumo splash, which is obviously what was mentioned earlier too. Head bash and slap combo.
And what I thought was brilliant was I also added some Game Pro special tips from the #1 video game magazine. So they've got the knee bash, which gives a 25% damage. They move in close to the opponent while standing still. Press roundhouse. I'm not sure which button was the roundhouse. You'll hit the enemy twice with a fast foot. So I guess somewhere along the line, they got lost in translation on what his actual move was going to be. Because he definitely doesn't do the hand slap in action figure form. What a slapper. Yeah, these are cool figures. I like them. There's a lot of people that, it is a little bit, does bring up some questions. But there are a lot of people that dismiss these as G.I. Joe figures and accurate G.I. Joe figures, as opposed to just a side brand. But I consider these to be not only great G.I. Joe figures, but great action figures in their own right. And some of them, like I said, are not really that great at translation. But when you look at ones like this guy, I think other than the gimmick, which broke on mine, but this has been around for decades. So whatever, it broke, whatever, it's a toy, get over it. But other than that, very well done. They really lean into the video game aspect of it, and I often wondered if WWE hadn't have gone with LJN, had this possibly been a line of wrestling figures that we could have got from the WWF.
That would have been sick.
Would have been so good, right?
Yep.
I dismissed them on the peg, but after I got a bunch in the late 90s, I grew to appreciate them. Yeah. Pro tip, the light headbutt has a frame of invincibility like the Dragon Punch in World Warrior. Oh, there you go.
There you go, yeah. So if someone was using E-Honda on the game, and if they're really fluent with them, they're very hard to beat, because the 100-hand slap, because of its range of motion, if you time that right, you can't get past it. Even trying to jump over it, unless you time that jump perfect, you can't get past it. That you have got. If you got a skilled user of using E-Honda, he's difficult to beat.
So, thanks for that. You know what we should do? I'll read this comment out first. Zazel, you are correct. That is a first. According to Gaggle, Bison was Vega, Balrog was Bison, and Vega was Balrog. We could turn that into a song. But we won't. Pro tip: I suck at Street Fighter. We should do a tournament sometime on your channel, TJC. Do a tournament and knock out, get a bunch of us on there, and we each pick a character and see who lasts the tournament.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I played it.
Same.
Fun fact: Jace beat Space Commander at Street Fighter at the weekend.
Who was he playing?
He was playing Street Fighter 2 with Space Commander, and he beat him. How about that?
What character was he playing as?
He was Ken, I think.
Nice. And who was Space Commander?
Oh, I don't know. I think Space Commander. He just picks anyone and thinks I'll have a go.
Yeah.
But Jace put him to bed quite early and then said, "Yeah, see you later."
Yeah,
Spacey will just pick anyone that Disney hasn't ruined.
The list is getting short.
Hey, so as brilliant as Sarge would be the commentator, that would be cool if he did. I reckon that if they brought these figures out, because Hasbro eventually did acquire the rights to make wrestling figures, right? But they ended up making those sort of, those guys, right? The Hasbros, and those are pretty cool. But they didn't make them in the style of G.I. Joe, but they could have. And I argue that even as cool as those Hasbros are, and Phil, back me up on this, Phil. Oh, thanks, buddy. Have a good night, bud.
Night, Kiwi.
As cool as those Hasbros are, I reckon a line of WWE or WWF figures would have been way cooler. Yeah. Would have been awesome. Yeah. So we're not done with E-Honda, because there was a little thing called Street Fighter the Movie.
Yes.
And Street Fighter the Movie decided that they were going to bring out Street Fighter the Movie action figures. Now, I'm a little bit cautious with this guy, because it looks he shouldn't be broken, but his leg looks suspiciously bent upwards, and I'm like, is it? Is it?
He's just broken in there, and he's already just kicking his way out of the packaging.
Yeah. So now you can dusty bottoms, lucky day. So as you can see, there's a little bit of a difference. He's got the white thingamy bob. Sorry, Phil, I forgot what it was again.
Does that say spring action headbutt smash or something?
Yeah,
headbutt
spring
bash,
action headbutt bash.
Yeah, so I was going to say that that action was more like a headbutt after you headbutted the webcam twice.
Mm-hmm. And then it says on the back, the world's most thrilling martial arts conflict explodes onto the big screen in the exciting action adventure of Capcom Street Fighter the Movie. The conquest of the world is at stake in the ultimate battle of good versus evil. Collect all of these fully posable figures with spring action moves to create your own Street Fighter and battle action. When? Today! And they've decided to go with just the artist render of these characters. Collect them all. Official movie fighter.
You'll probably find they went with the renders because they didn't have the license for the movie actors' faces.
No, true. However, they did have excellent artwork on the top there of each character. Edmund Honda, sumo wrestler. Do we think he's Australian?
No.
Where do we think he's from?
Fairly certain.
Where do we think he's from? If we had to have a guess, where do we think he's from?
Wisconsin.
Let's try. Let's have a look. Tej, where do you think he's from?
I think in the film he was from. Was it Hawaii?
Pachow. He is Hawaiian. All right. Let's see. Do you reckon you could read that if I hold it still enough?
Yeah. A strict disciple of the art of sumo wrestling, this Hawaiian fighter is a giant mass of power and strength. Despite his threatening appearance, he is kind of heart and the sense to do what is right. Despite his threatening appearance, he has a kind heart and the sense to do what's right. He acts as bodyguard to Chun-Li, not that she needs one, and helps to stop the tyrannical General Bison. His most fearful weapons are his hands. If you ever get hit by his 100-hand slap, you'll definitely agree once you wake up. And then that's a very questionable activity.
Yeah. Squeeze lower legs for headbutt action. That's probably why a lot of these are broken, because they're squeezing the legs together. Headbutt action works best after removing the figure's kimono cloth. So now they're calling it a kimono cloth. Now, Phil, if you're still here, can you tell me what's the difference then between a kimono cloth and, one moment, please, our mawashi? What's the difference? Let me know. But that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I dig it. I dig it a lot. I think that looks awesome with the silhouette of the city behind it, and
yeah.
And there you have the factual genius. Gaz has given the actor who played him in the movie. There we go.
E. Honda was played by Peter Navy Tuiasosopo.
Something along them lines, yeah.
Anyone remember the huge sumo called Sally the Dump Truck? He was Hawaiian too, same era. No, I don't know about that one. Good question. What do we reckon, though? The white and red with the blue on the face, or the red on the face and the blue?
I like the original look the better. I don't mind the blue face paint.
Yeah.
I think that the red and the white thing kind of makes it look like the cartoon underwear.
Yeah. Yeah. It really does. Ouch. Yeah. I think the blue one is more reminiscent of how he looked in the game. But
yeah, once again, they're both good.
Just excellent sculpting. Just brilliant. Red one screams Cobra, blue reminds me of Joe. Yeah. Original look is better. Yeah, but this one, this one's not bad. He comes with the same weapons, although this time it's not on the tree or the sprue, and he only comes with one fork this time because he's trying to no, don't say it.
On the original card one, the original figure, Zays, what was his? Did it actually say what his occupation or what his speciality was on that, like a G.I. Joe speciality?
Let's have another look.
Apart from his wrestling, is there just like a?
His alignment style was good. Yeah.
Yes, his fighting style is obviously sumo, which you'd understand, but I didn't know if it had what he did, because obviously being a bodyguard in the film was a bit of a change, wasn't it, from what he, especially with Chun-Li, because she could look after herself, couldn't she?
Well, that's right. I think making him, no offense to the Hawaiians, but I think making Edmund Honda Hawaiian was a takeaway from his Japanese heritage. Because I think
it's a big world out there.
It is a big world. If you want to know if you want to have a look up the skirt there, Lilith, it's red. Both come with red. If you wanted, just for you, buddy, just for you.
The age rate in this stream just went up.
Right? Yeah, demonetized. Oh yeah, Sally the dump truck. There it is. All right, we'll check that one out. But
I remember there used to be a sumo show on in the evenings on in the UK on a Thursday evening, I think it was. And one of the bigger ones I remember was actually his sort of like name, like title in the wrestling was the Salt Shaker.
Oh yes.
So that's the only one that really stands out I can remember. But like I say, I used to watch it with my dad. That was quite entertaining, I got to say.
So when we were when I was in primary school, for like a week, we had like this week where we were learning about Japanese culture, learning about like tea, and we ate seaweed. And the teacher, like for context, I grew up in like a very small country town. So the teacher decided to teach us about sumo stuff, and as a demonstration of what sumo is, she just like points at the two fat guys that are in the class and makes them sumo wrestle.
No.
Yeah, no joke. That's what they did. Like, and you didn't think any, like, I don't even think they thought anything of it at the time, but as an adult you look back and you're like, that's not all right.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought they'd be able to get away with saying that now.
No, that's not even
not even in a small country town could you get away with that anymore.
No, definitely not.
Mean teachers.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. And I grew up in the 80s, so if that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Interestingly, on the file cut, flashback. Interestingly, on the file cut, everything from his date of birth to his fighting style, everything is the same blood type, all the same. The only difference is they changed his nationality to Hawaiian, but I guess that's how the movie did it too. Did you guys see the Street Fighter movie?
I did long time ago.
I've got the Street Fighter movie in my collection. Yeah, I've got it.
I think it might be on Amazon or something, and it's in my watch list.
So here's another question then for you, Terry. Have you got Street Fighter movie game?
Yes, PlayStation 1.
How bad do the characters look in that game? I mean, I think Jean-Claude Van Damme looks okay, but Blanca just looks daft.
Yeah, they didn't really sort of like represent him very well, considering his character actually was effectively like a big muscly monster, really. And then the guy they put in there, he just sort of painted him green, pretty much. Yeah, that's Blanca. There you go. I got to admit, I suppose doing that then would have been hard to try and represent a Blanca character in any sort of proper way, effects wise. But I thought they could have done a bit of a better job than that.
They did, yeah. It was pretty bad. It was essentially
you should have had someone like Lou Ferrigno, like the Hulk sort of size guy.
And then
maybe some prosthetics on his face to make him look like the character. But yeah, that was pretty poor, really. Yeah.
So it was essentially some guy just painted green with a wider nose. Like they fattened up his nose and went, "That's Blanca. That's good enough." And then
obviously Dr. Dalsim when his was like his doctor's uniform pretty much burnt off, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Where did they get that? He gained a big medallion thing. Well, you never saw that before, All right.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but it's also a guilty pleasure. And one of those movies, and I think Gaz, you'll appreciate this. It's one of those movies where people go, "Oh, I don't know if it makes a very good Street Fighter movie, but it makes a great G.I. Joe movie." It's like, you guys don't know what you want.
Yeah, as Gaz mentioned, that was Raul Julia's last film.
Yeah. One of the best actors in the movie. Everyone else just sort of showed up.
He basically stole that show because of how he played the dictator sort of character of Bison in that. He did steal the whole movie.
Yeah, I think it brilliantly acted. Johnny's saying Zangief was the bad guy in the movie, and he was a good guy. Yeah. I mean, typical make the Russian bad, right? But it was a Tuesday. Great line in the movie. But yeah, I enjoy it. It's a guilty pleasure.
It's definitely a classic. That's definitely a bit of a cult classic. I mean, you know, that's why I got it in the collection. That is a cult film for what it is. And then that obviously started, that sort of time you had all the game ones were trying to be attempted to convert. And one they had the Mortal Kombat film as well, where they sort of tried and pass that over to a film. And so, yeah, that was actually that sort of style they were trying to cash in on the games. Because at that time, Street Fighters was actually at the height of its popularity then.
Yeah.
Did anyone watch the cartoons? Lilith was asking that earlier. If you ever watched the...
No, I didn't. But I watched
I
watched a film, and I can't remember what it was called.
Cartoon.
It was Street Fighter something or other, and there was a film that they did, and that was Street Fighter, and that had Ken and Ryu, and that was also had Akuma, which was an unlockable character in obviously one of the later versions of Street Fighter 2. And that had the story of obviously Ken and Ryu's obviously training, Ken's battle with his darkness side, as well as Ryu's dark side. And then obviously Akuma was basically the dark side of obviously that, where he trained himself to obviously be that powerful. And that was, I can't remember the name of the film. I'll have to look it up and maybe send it to you so you can put it in the description. But the film is actually really good. I actually thought it was a really good film.
Which cartoon was it? Was it the anime that had Silverchair in the soundtrack? I thought that was pretty cool. Lilith will tell me.
Yeah.
It was interesting hearing Silverchair, an great Aussie band playing in a Street Fighter movie soundtrack. I thought Guile was a great character that translated. It was like a good bridge between Street Fighter and G.I. Joe was the Guile figure. And we will eventually look at Guile because the prototype, you can kind of just make it out. If I show you the back of here, the prototype in this image on the left, the little tank, the prototype for Guile, the torso was Sergeant Slaughter. They didn't end up using that torso. Do you know whose torso they used, Nate?
Nope.
No idea.
It was Road Pig, I believe.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Road Pig got a lot of use after his initial use in G.I. Joe. What's this one? The animated movie from Japan has the famous shower scene. Ooh, adults only.
There we go. That's called Street Fighter Assassin's Fist.
The movie one that you were talking about with Ken
that's pretty good. I actually quite thought that was a pretty good film. I think that might have been on Amazon.
I'll check it out. I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But Tej, I thought because your YouTube channel is Gaming Memories, that we might finish the show with a few Street Fighter 2 gaming memories.
Well,
my memories are that I am terrible at it. Just terrible. A masterpiece of terrible.
It can't be that bad, surely.
No.
Especially now. Like, I was never good at. I played them a lot, but I was never really good at them. Like, as an adult, going back and trying to play them now, I give up after like 10 minutes. I'm done.
The problem is when they brought the movie version of the game out on the PlayStation, you didn't have the analog sticks at that point when that came out, so you had the D-pad. Right. So trying to do the moves on the D-pad took some effort, if you see what I mean, to obviously get them, because obviously you're used to using the joystick in the arcade. But I actually got to a point where on the movie version, that was basically the championship edition of the game, effectively. So you had all the special moves.
Thanks, Joe Fan.
which was obviously all the upgraded moves. So Ken, when he did his fierce sort of like dragon punch, that had actually engulf him in flame completely, and it actually like set the person on fire and everything. That was all sort of like ramped up a bit, and you had to like you could build it up. That was like a repeater sort of thing. You could build your levels up to do that. That was like on there, and I could basically do that the whole side of the screen and just continuously do those dragon punches all the time. Because I couldn't do it now. My thumb would probably fall off.
Yeah, we were never that skilled. I had 2 brothers growing up, still do, and the issue would be that we'd go, all right. The rule was, whenever we got a new fighting game, right? The rule was each of us pick a character and we go to as far to the side of the screens as we can, and we start practicing moves, right? Before we get into the middle and have that, right? But often what would happen is that someone would figure out the moves first and then be like, just absolutely obliterate them. And I can tell you with my level of skill, it was never me that was getting in there first. I used to do the old jump backwards and do the kick thing. You know, the old spam moves, they call them now. I just have to spam.
Yeah. See, the problem is I think a lot of people get sucked into the special move. So they think if I can do the special move, I only have to concentrate on learning that one, and then I can just use that to get me out of trouble. But the problem is if you get a skilled Street Fighter player, which I've played some and they're just absolutely amazing at it. When we used to meet people in arcades and stuff, and they'd be like, they'd just like obliterate you in something like about 20 seconds. And you're like, you walk away, so like, I ain't gonna play that anymore. And then that was just because they just had the combinations between the moves to use them to their best effect. Whereas if you just fixated on one move, you would get obliterated by a professional sort of decent player who'd like playing competitions and what have you. So it's just obviously linking those moves together to get the best offense and defense for that character. Combos.
Yeah, well, I found that, and I miss it. I miss it now, even as an adult. Going to the arcade was an event, right? Because if there were really good gamers there, and they weren't called gamers back then, but if there were really good players then, you could just stand and watch and be entertained. And you would be rooting for them. You'd be like, keep going, top score, high score. And that if there was a really, really great player, everything else would stop and everyone would be just like a horseshoe around watching all of the action happen. And I remember this one guy who was just an exceptional gamer. But he had this this thing with his tongue. When he was playing, he would dart his tongue backwards and forwards to the left and the right, and that was his like really getting in there and being focused.
This was like
he had special sensors at either side of his mouth. He was getting in extra button presses.
That's what it was. That's why he was so good.
The thing with this was that was a progressive thing, like you say about the arcades being like that was like a hub for you all to get around, and you'd all sort of crowd around in one machine a lot of the time with a game like Street Fighter, and then you'd all take turns, and then someone would be really good to be like you say, you'd be entertained watching them. But you'd also learn the moves a lot of the time from other people and say, well, if you do this, that's really easy to pull this move off. And then and obviously that progressed onto playing the Mortal Kombat with the special finishes. People, you'd watch someone else do them, and then you'd actually, I remember that, and then you got to do their special, like finishing moves, then I moved on from that to the Killer Instinct. Did you ever play any of them?
Yes.
Where they had I used to be the ninja one in that, which was what was it, Jago, and then you used to do like 100 and something hit combo. If you actually could put the combos together in the right order at the end of the game, he'd be sitting there still punching him, and you're standing there watching it like a movie. I'd be still doing it. It was just obviously. I watched someone do that once, and I was sitting there thinking, "How the hell do you just do that?" And he was just like, "Well, you have to do this combo, this one, but you have to do it in a certain order to link them together to get it to do that." But yeah, that was just good. Like you say, good times, good social place to obviously meet, wasn't it? You'd all meet up with your friends, and that's what an arcade was.
One of the better Street Fighter 2 memories I do actually have is my brother. Well, this is as an adult. My brother, he was working in a pub, and they were pretty dead on Sunday afternoon. So it's like, why don't we start having game tournaments? So we threw a Street Fighter 2 tournament, and like basically all the nerds assembled in one place. And so we had like this awesome afternoon in the pub playing Street Fighter, and there was like all these adults and like one kid there with his mum.
Yeah.
Because he didn't know there was like a thing for adults. He just saw there's a Street Fighter tournament, and he must have liked Street Fighter. So he was there. He did pretty well too.
Oh, he played good. That's good. I'm glad they let him play.
Yeah, no, it was good fun. He had a couple of I think he had a Mortal Kombat tournament as well, and things like that. So it was a good time. They didn't end up happening too often, but yeah, it was good.
Well, I want to shout out Gaz, who's been doing an absolute banger job in the chat, putting all the links and looking up on Gaggle for us. According to Goggle, he went to a third place. We've got Google, Gaggle, and Goggle. Silverchair's Israel's Son was on the soundtrack to Street Fighter 2, the animated movie. Awesome. There we are.
Nice.
Do you remember the 60-minute story on how violent Street Fighter was? You know what? They say Street Fighter was violent. I mean, Mortal Kombat obviously blew the top off of that. But I don't think that it's even really that violent. Not in comparison to some of the other games.
There was no blood on Street Fighter, at least not the original versions. No, so obviously you got none of that. I think there was some.
Quite frankly, if little Timmy can hurt his friend with a flying kick, good on you, Timmy.
Yes, exactly. If you can make flames come out of your palms, then you've earned it.
Yeah.
If you can make flames come out of your palms,
right? It's that 100-hand slap you got to watch out for.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, that's like you say, it was good times. It was getting people together, all friends together, and around one machine. I mean, you won't see that now, would you? Let's be honest.
No, not really. Everything's online now. I guess the equivalent of doing what we used to do is what you're doing now, Tej, with your videos, with watch-alongs and stuff. That's the equivalent now. And I always enjoy.
Except obviously when you watch me play them, I'm never as good as what you probably did years ago. So
no, well, your tongue doesn't move like that guy did. That's
very true. Maybe I'll have to try that. Might make me better.
Give it a crack. Might make you better at that Batman game.
Yeah, because obviously playing the last game in memories one I did was a PS1 game of Resident Evil, and using the D-pad, I was just going the wrong way after time. Hang on, I was terrible.
Which one am I? Why am I going backwards?
Why am I walking into zombies all the time? What's the matter here?
What were we saying then?
I was just saying that once a year for my birthday, I throw a Mario Kart tournament for just some select friends. And it is magical. And like, so if that's a thing that you think that you would enjoy, just do it, because like I didn't think my friends were going to be all that into it. Not like that. A lot of them weren't really like gamers, or if they are gamers, they weren't really into Mario Kart. But we just have a blast every year.
So you still remained friends after the Mario Kart tournament?
Oh yeah. It just kind of helps that one guy wins almost all of them.
And I was going to say, the Gaz's question there, that's got to be Cammy.
Yeah, it's a good question, Gaz. Street Fighter. What joke characters would you like to see in the Street Fighter game? Sarge, obviously. Imagine Sarge versus Zangief. I reckon that'd be a good matchup.
Yeah, and Scarlet.
I would say Quick Kick would be another one. Who are the big fighters in G.I. Joe? It's Sarge. Roadblock would look pretty cool. Quick Kick.
Just put Big Boa up against.
Obviously, you'd have to have Snake Eyes. You'd have to have Snake Eyes in there, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, Snake Eyes too. Johnny's saying that there's a big moral panic in the US in the 90s about video games, and then they got proper systems. We didn't even have R-rated games for a while in Australia. We had such a everyone else was playing awesome versions of games like GTA, and we've got dumbed down versions of it. And believe it. Yeah, here you go. That's a good point. Spirit, but there was a later American Indian or Native American. I don't know what's the proper term.
That was T-Hawk. T-Hawk. He was obviously an Indian. Yeah, he was in the movie.
Crocmaster would be interesting.
I was going to say Crocmaster, but not in Street Fighter. Crocmaster in Mortal Kombat. So you got the
the croc would be the fatality. He'd bite the head off or something afterwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, T-Hawk, the Indian, what Phil was mentioning, he was actually in the Street Fighter movie with Cammy.
Was he?
Who played? He was with Cammy and who played by Kylie Minogue.
Yeah.
So that's T-Hawk.
I'll have to go back and watch the movie. Nate, after having a look at E Honda, do you reckon it rings a bell?
I think he definitely rings a bell now. And now we know.
Because knowing is half the battle.
Space Commando.
Yes, it is.
Well, that was a fun hangout, guys. Thanks, Space Commander, for that little outro that we do every single show. TJC, what's coming up for you, my friend?
Well, tonight I will be playing more of Pacific Drive on the PlayStation 5. And Thursday night will be Mass Effect.
Back to Mass Effect. So the great thing about, if I can't watch them live, which is often unfortunately due to the different time zones, they're really good to have on because I hate doing housework. I hate it. But you know what takes the edge off? You know what takes the sting off of doing housework? It's having gaming memories on the TV while I'm doing it. And I just get to sit or lean, or when I'm supposed to be sweeping and I'm doing one of these instead, leaning on it and just watching it get caught on the thing.
And then when the wife walks in, you start polishing something.
Yeah. Just be like, I'm doing it. It'd be like, now, if you keep getting distracted, I'm going to have to turn TJC off. It's like, all right, I'll be good. But it's great.
Throw yourself onto the ground and throw a world-class hissy fit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what happens. If I can't get my fix of TJC, I'm going to chuck a hissy. Nate, what have you got coming up, my friend?
Still got the Secret Project episode waiting. The thingy is still apparently on its way.
I had a look today. Yeah,
the tracking hasn't moved in a week. So they're probably just not scanning it. I don't know.
They're probably looking at it and wondering, this is brilliant, whatever it is.
Working on another news report.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and I still haven't picked a new project. I did pick up NES, Nintendo, that needs a bit of work. So I was thinking maybe I'll have a look at that.
Nice.
But also I probably might have to order some parts for that if it goes a certain way. So that might not be short term.
There you go. Zazel is obviously Lilith has put she loved Mass Effect, and Jennifer Haley is coming to Australia.
Is that right? I think now correct me if I'm wrong. So Jennifer Haley does the voice for Shepard, right?
Let me see.
Am I right or am I wrong?
I think Jennifer Haley's one is
who does Shepard?
Shepard's the guy, isn't it? At the beginning, the main character.
It could be a girl though. It can be a girl.
Yeah,
it could be. I don't know if it is Jennifer Haley.
Yeah. No matter what gender.
Comic Con female Shepard. There you go.
So many years ago, she came to a Supernova, and I got to see her then. But I found out that she does all sorts of remarkable voice talents. It's not just one of those. Oh yeah, it was a Road Jacko Pig. Yeah, right. Oops. Yep, T-Hawk. So Secret Project. Well, yes. Now, T, you're coming back to the clubhouse next week with Mark Potter and Space Commander to talk about your recent catch up with Slaughter Daughter and Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to hanging out and talking about that. From what I've seen, it was a remarkable weekend, and I can't wait to hear more about it. Tomorrow morning for me, I'm hanging out with Gaz again to shoot the and we're going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly, plus a little bit extra of G.I. Joe. With some special guests. We've got Adam from Go Figure, and we've got Hans Chow coming to kick the door in for us. So we'll check that out in the morning for me, AM, and then after that, it's more Toy Biz with Adam. Oh, just good stuff. But on that, we'll call it a night. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks to everyone for hanging out with us. Yo, Joe, full force, and I guess fight. Oh, before I forget, next week, Nate, if you're wanting to come back and do another episode again next week, why don't we dip a toe into Mortal Kombat?
Sounds good to me.
We'll pick a Mortal Kombat character. And Tej, if you're not doing anything, and you want to keep talking about video game characters that are G.I. Joe, would you like to come back and be a guest again?
100%, love to.
Perfect. And with that, we'll do our outro. And thank you. Yo, Joe, full force.
Hey, everyone.
Hey man, no strangers here. These times I hold them dear. Doors open, so come on in. Yeah, that was great. Let's do it again. Do you wanna come over? Just like the old times, we'll hit pause and then hit rewind. You wanna come over? Just like the old days, and we'll watch the time just fly. Do you wanna come over? Just like the old times, we'll hit pause and then hit rewind. You wanna come over? Just like the old days, and we'll watch the time just fly.
Because knowing is half the battle.
Space Commando.